Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Crystal Maguire for Friday for Females. Thank you for joining us. And Crystal, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about your journey. So we'll get right into it. My first question for you is your journey was actually very unique. So why did you decide to start Wind Supply of Frederick?
Well, so the short answer is because I absolutely fell in love with Frederick. But since this is a podcast, you probably want the whole story.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from a really, really small town in Alabama. And my parents were kind of the epitome of bootstraps, American dream kind of thing. They were teen parents. My dad didn't finish the ninth grade. They were kind of high school sweethearts, and they were really struggling when I was a kid. And so my dad started this business, and his dream was to provide us kids with every opportunity that like they didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And a huge part of that was not being limited by the regular 9 to 5. I know that he wanted to own something and have a say in something and be able to impact what he was doing and set his own limitations, and not be limited by the regular job force. So little did I know that at a very young age had a really huge impact on me. And I didn't learn that until I was much, much, much older. But, they achieved their dreams. They did provide me with every opportunity to succeed. I was able to go to college. I was the first in my family to go to college.
Wow.
It was a huge deal.
I bet it was.
But I felt like no matter what path I was taking, nothing really felt right. So not only did they put me through college, but I was on the academic track to get my PhD in peace, and something just felt like it was missing, like it wasn't right. So I up and moved to Hawaii on a whim, and which was wonderful, and it was a great experience, and I learned a lot about myself and about struggle.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't quite the right fit. So I needed a swift kick in the pants, and I joined the Army.
Okay.
I spent 4 years in the Army, and that kind of met a lot of needs that I think that I'd been missing in my life at that time. I also met my husband, and we started a family, and something on the career track felt like it was still missing. Like, even though a lot of my life was starting to come together the way that I felt like I wanted it to, something was still kind of missing. So my husband and I both got out of the Army at the same time, and I found Wind Supply. And Wind Supply, if you don't know what they are, we're distributors of various construction supplies, like we're electrical and lighting. A lot of them are plumbing and HVAC. You might be familiar with Nolan's or Windustrials. So we're all over the nation. But I was the first female through their manager and training program. And this was interesting because basically what they do is they take people coming out of the military and they put them through this 1-year training on a local supply. And what I liked about it was like their business model was really unique, and it was kind of built to inspire ownership. And they kind of choose like people coming out of the military, which was great for me because you're already a leader. You're already trained on those leadership skills and stuff. And they believe that it's easier to teach about business and products and industry. And it's way more efficient than doing the reverse. So the idea is that once the MIT, the manager in training, goes through this 1-year program, they'll take over, maybe an underachieving Wind Supply location or a Wind Supply location that's, in need, or maybe another president is retiring or something like that. And that president will take over and kind of make it their own and, make it really successful, and they'll invest their own money into it. So they have a meaningful share of that business, that ownership piece of it. But being the kind of girl that I am, I decided to take the harder road, the road less traveled. And when I started, I was actually training in Texas because my husband and I were stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. And so I'd been there for years. And right after I started the program, I got pregnant with my second child. So it wasn't hard enough being the first female through, but now I'm also pregnant in addition to that.
Yeah.
So I know I'm going to be in the program for a while. And someone said, hey, is anyone interested in Frederick or Fredericksburg or Frederick something? It's in Maryland or Virginia or somewhere like that. And I was like, me, I'll go. So imagine a 7-month pregnant woman leaving 105-degree weather in Texas and getting on a plane and coming and landing here in Frederick. And I just remember I interviewed here at the Nolan location, and I just remember walking up and down the creek, and it was like they had music out there and everything. They had music and everything. And I was eating ice cream. So big pregnant belly eating ice cream. I'm on the phone with my husband and I'm like, oh my God, I think I was crying. I found it. The universe is speaking to me. It's wonderful. I found the place that I love. And I think this is where we should move and raise a family here. So up we packed and moved everybody out here, never knowing anybody from Maryland at all, never having been to Maryland at all. So we moved here and we spun off the electrical department of the Frederick Nolan here in September of 2018. And it wasn't easy. It was definitely the road less traveled. But in our first full fiscal year, we did over $6 million in sales.
Wow, that's crazy.
And we've been profitable every since.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, your journey is so unique because, I mean, you've done everything, it seems like, you've kind of like put your foot into like every single aspect that you could have. And Frederick, I've been to Frederick, and it's a very small little town, but it's like so homely. Like it's like you feel at home,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm from a much, much smaller town. And if you hear some racket around here, it's my dog. He's decided to play very loudly.
Well, I have kids over here, so if you hear them, it's the same thing, right? So,
yeah.
but no, I really like the journey because it showed like how you evolved and how you found and came into your own. And I like the fact that you were the first woman because it's like, wow, like you just paved the way for so many other females to jump into it as well.
I hope so. I feel like it's such a unique opportunity, and being in this business, like because it's like the trades and construction and stuff like that. I think that a lot of young women don't think of that as a business opportunity. I mean, I was raised in this industry, not electrical, but in the construction industry, and it just never occurred to me that this could be a path for me. It wasn't a girl job.
No, I mean, like a lot of times we're kind of like that's the norm, right? You're raised to believe a certain thing, but hey, you can do whatever you set your mind to, and now you can show other ladies that hey, you can do it. So to you. Your social media, I looked at like your Facebook primarily, but it's hilarious. I love the jokes and and how do you make those jokes relate to your business and how do you learn that concept?
So that's another reason that I love Frederick. It feels like around like every corner, there's somebody ready to, just help you succeed at whatever you're doing. And I took a couple of classes at the Chamber of Commerce, and, on social media, and then, pivot off of that. I met a few people from there, and then a friend was offering a class. She was in marketing. So I took one of her social media classes. And just since then, I've been able to keep surrounding myself with these really fascinating and incredible people who just keep giving me, just little tidbits and pointers here and there. Mm-hmm. And the one you're talking about is probably hashtag Funny Friday. Yeah. So that came about for two reasons. First of all, some of the advice that people were giving me were, your Facebook is in your social media for a business is not necessarily about, posting sales and stuff like that. It's not about selling. It's about branding and telling who you are and giving people a piece of, knowing all about you and what your values are and, just your personality.
Yeah.
So, don't make it all about,
The
light
business.
bulbs for sale.
Yeah.
If you're light
There was a cute one around the light bulbs. I forget the joke, but it was really funny. I was like, I like that. It was like so cute. And I was like, so she's selling the light bulbs, but it's through like a joke,
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the other reason I think is because when I'm doing my own social media, and if you've done, I'm sure a lot of business owners try to do their own social media.
Yeah.
It is not easy. It is a daunting task. So it was easier for me to go, you know what? Fridays are funny and Thursdays are thankful and Wednesdays are wired up. And, it's just a funny day. And, that's what kept me like really sane on the social media. And I mean, my sanity is worth $6 million, right? So
yeah, there you go, right? Yeah, I mean, you got $6 million, so it worked some ways. So
yeah.
I mean, no, it's right. I mean, social media can monopolize your time if you don't really understand it. I mean, that alone can take like a whole like day if you wanted it to.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to continue. I love the fact that you build partnerships with your client versus viewing them just as a client. So can you expound on that and how you've developed this mindset in your business and in your staff and why it's important to you?
Well, it's one thing that Winsupply really teaches about too, because there's an owner under every roof, an owner under every Winsupply. Every Winsupply is different and has that owner's personality, has that owner's values. And for me, I'm a people person. Every single mistake that I have ever made, every flaw, everything that I do, everything that I want to do is just very people and relationship driven. It's just how my brain is wired. Like numbers, I really have to work at. But people, I do. But people, that's kind of like my passion.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I were to view every customer as like a number or a dollar amount, I mean, it might help me on the business side of things, just the financial side of things. Things make sense. But my business then would be very transactional. And there'd be no reason that my customers should buy from me, who's the new girl, who's been in the business for a total of 5 minutes, and maybe some people would make that successful, maybe not, but surely, at some point you'd be just selling products based at the lowest price. And, who wants to do that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got good customers because you've built the rapport, if you don't build the rapport, then why would they pay the money to come to you?
Exactly. So I was listening to a podcast and it was like an interview with Lou Holtz, who's a coach, used to be for Notre Dame. Now he does like all these motivational talks and stuff like that. So I'm always chasing that. But he was talking about the difference in success and significance. And so success, a lot of people talk about success, and that's for today. That's, the wealth and all that kind of stuff. But when you die, that's over.
Yeah.
But significance, on the other hand, is like a legacy. And that continues long after you're gone. You're continuing to help other people be successful. And that's what I want. I don't want just success. I want significance. I want to help my customers. I want to help my team. I want to help my community. And I think that that's like the most important part of my job. I'm thinking about how I can bring value to my customers every day. And, at that point, it's answering phones, it's following up, it's doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Those things seem really small and insignificant and like they don't matter, but that's how you show people that you care and you care about their business, and that's how you bring them value and become their partner.
Yeah, I mean, there's a trust factor in it, but I like the fact that you say that there's significance, like because you want to make an impact. It's not like I'm just doing my job. Like you want to do more than just your job, and that's important because that's how you create the mentality in your team as well, and then it just translates as a domino effect.
Yeah, so the team, now that's a little bit different. Here, we now train from the ground up. So that's how I trained. I started out sweeping the floors and then driving a truck and then, running the counter and making sales calls. They teach you from the ground up.
Yeah.
And so here we're going to do the same thing. We hire on attitude. We teach the rest. Everybody hired at Winsupply, they start now at the receiving dock and they work their way to a desk if that's in their goal wheelhouse. We have some people that love to drive or they love the warehouse and that's what they're good at, but everybody's starting at the dock.
But I think that's important because, then you kind of understand like every single aspect of the business, right? And you can only respect the ones that are at the bottom, not to say that they're invaluable, but you can only respect that if you understand it for yourself.
Exactly. And here, so Winsupply, their ownership model is not just allowing presidents to buy into the company and have ownership, but we also allow our employees to buy into the company. So if you meet our driver, you don't know, but he might be a huge shareholder. He could retire here, a very wealthy person.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're transporting hearts or life and death situations or anything, but it's really about impacting somebody else's livelihood, whether their stuff is on time or you brought them the right stuff and you did what you say you were going to do. That's their business. That's someone else's business. That's someone else's livelihood. That's somebody else counting on that.
Exactly.
And so we want our team to be trained on every aspect of bringing that value and maintaining that partnership from day one.
That's amazing. No, I love that mindset. It's really cool. What was one of your most memorable experiences?
So it's not this big, profound obstacle or scenario or anything that I overcame or whatever. It's actually just a really small memory. So the day before we opened, I just remember being on a ladder and doing some touch-up paint. And my husband, who's my rock, he was putting together the shelving and probably cursing while he was doing it. And my oldest, Jackson, who was 3 at the time, he was putting the light bulbs on the shelf. He was just stocking my shelves for me.
Aww.
And while he was doing that, he was telling us absolutely everything there is to know about forklifts because we have forklifts here. And he was just fascinated with them. And he was telling us all about them. And then Brady, my baby, we had him in a pack and play down at the counter. And just for a moment, he let go of the side of the pack and play and he took his first steps right there the day before we opened. And it's such a tiny little moment. And it wasn't, like I said, anything like huge obstacles that I just managed my way through. No, it was just felt like everything kind of came together. Mm-hmm. Like all those tiny little struggles that I had faced, throughout my lifetime, it suddenly made sense. And all of those things had purpose. And my company is now not just a dream, it's a reality. And it's not just me, it's my family. And then my team and my team's family, these are all, it just brought everything into perspective. So,
wow. No, it's like you came full circle. It's like you just had that epiphany moment. It's like, wow, it's here. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
that's
like,
exactly
it's like, it's here. Exactly. No, that's very memorable. I like that. I mean, and you relate it back to the family and that makes so much sense because that's what your business is about, I mean, if you look at the baseline of it, like it's all about family and working together and caring for each other. So the fact that your memorable moment relates to your kids it just coincides with everything you stand for. So you are very busy. You have a business, you have a family, and you do various events. How do you manage your time?
A rock star husband. No, but there's really not this big secret method or something that I've figured out that, a way to find balance in my life. It's silly. But basically you make promises that you can keep. You apologize when you need to, because you're going to need to. Mm-hmm. And then you find things that fill your cup, whatever it is that fills your cup. And sometimes, it's family. Your family fills your cup for you. And then sometimes it's the community and networking. and just being around people and being around other business owners and people who are passionate about what they do. And then sometimes it's spending time on the little details and building your empire.
Yeah.
And that's just what I do. That's what keeps me grounded anyway. I mean, I feel like life's too short to be doing stuff that you don't want to do or being somewhere that you don't want to be. And if you have to do it anyway or be there anyway, you should definitely charge extra for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true. Like your time is the most valuable thing right now, right? And so if you gotta go beyond that, then you should charge and you should say, hey, it's my time. Because your time is so minimal anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So who was or is your greatest inspiration?
Oh, that is a hard one. I mean, I struggle with that question. I think my parents initially, because they kind of raised me in that, sorry. They raised me in that, like around the having your own business and that entrepreneurial spirit and all that. And they've supported me through all my crazy, well, eventually they got on board with all of my crazy ideas.
Yeah.
But I think really importantly, I've had a lot of inspiration and motivators and mentors, along the way. Like Winsupply is full of a ton of mentors. I've got a lot of mentors, locally. And I think just surrounding myself, that's one thing that I've learned as I got older, is just surrounding myself with people who inspire me. So like sometimes it's my kids and sometimes it's my team and sometimes it's my friends and that kind of thing. I think Zig Ziglar, he said something like, people say that motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily.
No, that's funny. You got a nice sense of humor there. I like it. So, let's see. If someone was to write about a book about you, what would the title be?
It probably has some curse words in it. No. It would probably be thanks for the input, but I think I'm going to do it anyway.
I like that. Yeah, because everyone has their 2 cents, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to make that decision, right? And that's why you have a big business. I mean, a very successful business because you knew your path and how you wanted to take it.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times I catch myself and I'm like, am I questioning what I'm doing? And I don't know that it's like I'm seeking validation or seeking, that kind of thing. I'm really looking for people whose opinions that I value to look at it from a different perspective, look at it from a different angle. And maybe I've already made my decision. It doesn't mean that their, opinions are any less valuable. It just means that I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I do want and value your input and looking at it in a way that maybe I can't see right now.
Yeah. No, it's important to take everyone's 2 cents in. So, and then at the end of the day, you make your final end all be all. So,
Yeah.
No, I think that's very important because everyone needs to feel part of the team. So that's how you get everyone to appreciate your mission and your vision. So, what pointers can you give women or people who are in the beginning phases of starting a business?
I think bring value, first of all. Whatever you do, bring value and put yourself, whoever you are, know who you are and put that into your business. Because your business is such a huge part of you. It's like, I always joke and say that it's like my third child.
Yeah.
It's part of your family. It's such a huge place in your life. And I think that like it's a manifestation of your dreams and your ideas. Don't change it. And I think that's something that I had struggled with early on was, trying to fit a mold or trying to fit in, being the only female sometimes is hard. So you work really hard to try to fit in. But all of the mistakes that I've made is probably centered around trying to do that. And
yeah,
that's not who I So just know who you are and bring value, and no matter what anybody says, that business is a representation of you. And it's scary. Sometimes it's not fun, but it's definitely worthwhile. And above all else, if no one tells you this every day, you might have to tell yourself that you are enough. It will be fine. You are enough.
No, I think that's important. I think a lot of women in particular feel like they have to please everybody to make
Yeah.
their business successful. And I like the fact that you said, like, no, it's it's your baby, it's your third child, and so you
Yeah.
have to make sure that um that you stay true to yourself with the business. Otherwise, you lose the heart and the soul of the business, and then it's no longer fun. And if it's no longer fun, then it
Why are you
dies
doing
on you.
it? Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's very cool. I love that. Like, just be yourself, be yourself. So, um, congrats on the 2 year mark. I saw that, you had a 2 year mark, so that's really exciting.
Mhm.
How has it been adapting with the new norm and everything that's at hand right now?
Well, it was scary at first, and still is sometimes because it's like it's huge adjustment. But I think for us, especially being a young company like we are, I think that we had this great opportunity all of a sudden because everyone's off their game. Everyone is struggling. Everyone is trying to make adjustments too. So here now we have this great opportunity to figure out ways to, new ways to bring value, new ways to show people that we care, and just be there for our customers and figure out new processes. I mean, you just
Yeah, you
jump
just have
in
to
and
adapt.
continue mission. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have goals, and a pandemic's not going to stop that.
Yeah, no, and that's right. I mean, you just have to change your goals or maybe change the way you address your goals, but
Yep.
there's always adapting and evolving. So, if anything, you can learn and grow from it, right? So,
Right.
well, Crystal, I really appreciated you coming in today. I had so much fun chatting with you and learning about yourself, your journey, and your business. And I wish you the best of luck. I know we'll see some great things from you, and you'll be paving the way and continuing to pave the way. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
No, it was. Thank you so much.